What's going on, guys? We are back with another YouTube video today. I know it has been very not consistent with my posting on YouTube lately, and I apologize for that. Like I said, I really want to get back into it. I actually got another camera, so this is another reason for this video is because I want to test out my new camera, especially before I go on this trip that I'm going on. I got this new gimbal, and this is kind of why I'm filming this video. One, to test it out, but two, because I am leaving for another Strongman show. I'm about 5 weeks out now, or I'm sorry, 5 weeks post the Santa Monica Classic. And honestly, things are feeling really good. I'm going to be competing this weekend at the Icelandic Festival of Manitoba. So I'm flying out to Winnipeg, Canada tomorrow, and I will be competing at the Icelandic Festival there in Gimli. This competition is a Magnus for Magnuson classifier. So the intent for me is hopefully I can win this show and then go ahead and compete at the Magnus for Magnuson Classic in Iceland in November. So that's kind of the goal of what I'm trying to achieve. And the goal of this video today is I'm going to show you guys what I pack for when I fly to shows. So this is a great video if you're an athlete that has never traveled for a competition, specifically flying. I know a lot of strongman athletes, especially in the United States, they kind of try to drive, even if it's cross state lines, they try to drive to competitions. For this one, I obviously am going, I think it's like a 17, 18-hour drive, so I'm going to fly. And with that, there comes risk in flying with your gear. My first tip, if you are traveling for a strength competition, whether that be powerlifting or CrossFit or whatever you tend to do. This is for strongman, obviously, but if the sole purpose of your trip is to go to a strength competition, you should probably prioritize your carry-ons to have all of your kit with you. So your belt, your knee sleeves, maybe not, I'm bringing 3 pairs of shoes. You might not need 3 pairs of shoes, but I would try and fit everything you can into the carry-on. If you haven't caught on to why, airlines can sometimes lose or misdirect baggage. Now, some athletes tend to play on the line, some athletes don't, but I tend to try to fly into these competitions a little bit early. So I'll be landing at Thursday night, which is tomorrow. The competition doesn't start till Saturday. So if a bag gets misdirected or one of my bags go missing, I at least have about 48 hours to recoup things or wait for the airline to find my bag and deliver it to me. Now, I have had bags lost on me before, luckily never at a strength competition event, but sometimes airlines will actually get your contact information and one of their employees at the end of the shift or at the end of their shift will actually bring your suitcase to you to whatever location you're at. So, what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you everything that I am bringing to Gimli. With that said, I have a suitcase here, and I have my backpack that I'll be pretty much carrying all of this in. And so, to save on time, I'm going to go ahead and go around my gym because things are kind of scattered around everywhere. I'm going to kind of lay everything out for me to double check to make sure I have everything and then kind of talk through why I'm bringing what and why. So we'll do that real quick. Okay, so we went ahead and laid everything out here on the floor that I can at least right now think of what I'll be bringing to Gimli. So starting out over here on the left, or my right, your left, I have my deadlift shoes, I have my weightlifting shoes, and I have my cross trainers. So the way I like to strategize what I'm bringing to a show is one, especially with a show like this where the rules are kind of limited. Like it doesn't really say things like no deadlift suits or no figure eights or no versus grips. I would rather FAFO and bring things that might be able to work toward my advantage. What I mean by that essentially is like I'm bringing like 4 or 5 different pairs of straps. And the reason why I'm doing that is because we have events that require straps. So the way that I like to structure how I bring or what I bring to competitions is I understand what the events are. Luckily for this, and you never know, but luckily for this show, there's already 6 events. They have about a 4-hour time cap, and I don't think there's any sort of possibility that there's going to be some sort of mystery event or anything like that. But in Strongman, especially if you want to stay competitive, it is a little bit better to bring more than you expect. And so for event 1, we have an overhead medley. There's a dumbbell, a block, an axle, and a log. Event 2 is a sandbag steeplechase. Event 3 is a sandbag throw. Event 4 is a yoke to power stairs. Event 5 is a deadlift ladder with a stiff bar, an axle bar, and a deadlift bar with stones for an AMRAP. And then the last event is a natural stone run. So there's 6 events that I'll need to prepare for. My absolute bare minimums is I'll always be wearing knee sleeves. Depending on the event, I'll have elbow sleeves that are actually tucked into the knee sleeves. I have my wrist wraps. I have a inner soft belt. And I have a harder Pioneer lever belt. Some things that I always do, and maybe this is because I'm prior military or whatever, is I'll always inspect my gear before I pack it. So like my inner soft belt, I'm aware that there's some rips on there. I've tested it, I've trained with it. It holds together, so I'm okay with that. The lever belt, it has screws. Sometimes you get mad and you throw your belt. What does that sometimes do? It loosens the screws. So I always go in and make sure that before I leave for travel, I don't want to get to the event and find out, I don't have a screwdriver to tighten the screws on my belt in case something comes loose. Is there a world where your lever belt becomes so loose that you might actually pop a screw out or your thing comes undone? Probably not. But for me, mental repetition, it's my check and my balance, right? Like I want to put my hand on it, I want to inspect the item, and I want to make sure that it's functioning correctly. So with that, I have my bare necessities. Then, per event, like the sandbag steeplechase or the sandbag toss, I prefer to use my cross trainers. Those are the Tier CXT2 carbon fibers. So I like those for my moving events. So I'll be wearing those for things like the power stairs and the yoke. I'll be wearing it for like the sandbag steeplechase, probably the natural stone loading platform stuff, and then the sandbag toss. The heels, it kind of sucks because I'm probably only going to wear them for one event, which is the overhead press medley. Are heels a requirement? Not necessarily, but I feel like I have a stable surface or standing surface when I wear the heels. I don't think I necessarily need the lift on the heel to do overhead pressing, but I do like them. It's what I train in, and I'm going to not veer away from what I train in. And then, as a benefit, because I don't know, sometimes the rules require you to at minimum have shoes. Sometimes at minimum they require you to have socks. So just in case, I'm going to bring my deadlift shoes or my Tier, and this isn't sponsored by Tier, I wish. But those are my Tier, I don't remember what the name is, but those are the barefoot zero, the zero drop ones. Here, like I said, I have an array of straps. The equipment at the show, I'm not particularly familiar with. I don't know what kind of stiff bar they're using, and I've never done a deadlift bar with stones. And because there's a stiff bar, deadlift bar with stones, and an axle, the deadlift bar with stones is actually on a 2-inch deficit. And so while I've been prepping for this show, I've kind of played around with different straps, and I want to actually have straps I want to have options for when I actually get to the competition and touch some of the equipment. So I have thick figure eights. I have SBD, like lighter, skinnier figure eights. I have these figure 9 straps or figure 6 straps, whatever you want to call them. These are from Silverback. So I have these, basically, if they're an option, if I can use them. I have Versa grips. I know it's a little bit untested, especially for me, to use Versa grips on an axle bar. But especially if we're doing a medley and they're taking split times, I want to make sure I'm fast. And then I'm also bringing traditional speed straps. Next to my strap, I'm not going to pull it out for you guys, but I also have my mouthpiece. In the sloth bag, if you followed me at all from the official Strongman games, made a little bit of a noise with that because that's my sloth chalk bag. During the official Strongman games, we had the sandbag steeplechase, and I carried Mr. Sloth on my waist in case I needed to re-chalk during the event. Sometimes you'll see athletes like leave chalk on the competition floor and have it, so it's available for them if they need to re-chalk during an event. I figured, why not just wear it on my hip? If I need a rebag during a sandbag, I don't have to go looking for chalk. I can just go reach behind my hip and I have chalk. Some other things that I'm bringing that might not make the carry-on is a foam roller. Just because I have some cervical spine issues. So I like using the foam roller to help with my cervical and my thoracic spine. And then I have resistance bands for warming up and stuff like that. But also because I combine the resistance straps with my foam roller to do some work, like cervical traction work. Yeah, so that was kind of the video. I'm not going to pack things for you. I don't need you guys to see all that. But I'm going to go ahead and get things packed up. I hope this video kind of helps. Oh, I forgot. I'm also bringing tacky towels. Those are up there in the front. But this is what I'm ultimately bringing. I also have smelling salts here. I have the Zone smelling salts, the red blood one. Those are my favorite because they hit the hardest, in my opinion. And that is all I'm essentially bringing in terms of competition gear. Like I said, some tips that I have for traveling for competitions is always bring more than what you think you need. You never know. This is open to debate, but I prefer my competitors to be at their best when we compete. You never know if somebody might need an extra wrist wrap. Maybe somebody's shoe blows out on them. I don't know if anyone's sharing shoes. Maybe somebody wants to borrow figure 8 straps. Don't be that guy who's like, no, I don't want to help you. You should have been prepared. Honestly, I would rather everybody have an equal playing field when we step onto the competition floor. So I tend to sometimes bring extra things. So bring extra things, and especially if you have a layover. Fortunately for me, I do not have a layover, so the risk of me losing a luggage is pretty low. I'm flying from Denver to Winnipeg. It's direct flight. I don't have to worry about my bags going from one plane to another. So the likelihood of me losing a bag on this trip is actually pretty low. And I travel enough to know that, but it is always better peace of mind, making sure that you have the kit that you need for your competition with you at all times. It does suck because a lot of this stuff is heavy and you're going to have to carry it through the airport, getting to your rental car, whatever it may be, etc. So it's not always the best, easiest situation. But if you're going to a competition and you're traveling for a competition, you probably put in maybe 2-3 months worth of prep. That's time. You bought flights, and likely you're going to buy a hotel. That's a couple $100 to $1,000+. And hours of your day. You're flying out of your home. You're going to another state, country, etc. You might as well set yourself up for success. So even if I know that the percentage of me losing my checked bag is like 5 to 10, maybe 15% at the worst, I have everything I need for at least the thing that I'm doing to travel for. Some other things that I'll probably be bringing is like sunglasses. I have a bunch of recovery equipment that I bring. Like I have compression boots from Therabody. I've got a massage gun. I've got a whole bunch of recovery stuff that I'll be bringing, and that to me is lower priority. It doesn't need to be there. So I'll put that 100% in my checked bag. But that is what I'm bringing. This is what's in my bag at Strongman competitions. It's funny because you can tell the athletes who do travel a lot for shows, everything just lives in a carry-on suitcase. I travel a lot, whether it's for show, personal, or work. So I don't have all of my stuff just sitting in a suitcase. But that is all I am bringing. Do I have any other advice for traveling for shows? Not that I can think of. That is honestly it. So I'm going to bring my new camera out to Gimli. I'm going to try and capture as much behind the scenes and everything going on as I can. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions about traveling for competitions or why I pick a piece of gear, if you have questions about the gear that I use, please go ahead and drop a comment down below. I'd be happy to talk to you. Thanks for watching.